Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Marketer's Blueprint podcast. I, of course, am your host, Nathan Gibson, and with me I have the one, the only Gabe Arnold yet again. Gabe, how's your week been?
It's fantastic. It's been a busy few weeks and recovering from some minor health stuff, but I'm happy and healthy and full of energy like I normally am, so I'm feeling good.
Excellent. I am too. The week has been great. We've got a ton of good stuff to talk about today, ton of awesome stuff going on at BME. But it's time, Gabe. It's time we talked about LinkedIn. We haven't talked about LinkedIn yet. It's such a huge platform with a crazy statistic the team let me know about. LinkedIn has over 1 billion members in 2024. It's evolved from a professional networking platform to an extremely powerful marketing tool, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing platform, and I'll share something that one of my good friends, Joshua B. Lee, who's the dopamine dealer of LinkedIn, you should look him up.
Yes.
Somebody coined that phrase for him. He's an amazing dude and a great friend of mine, but he told me something fascinating that is worth pointing out in the world of social media, and that is LinkedIn has never been in a congressional hearing. So it just gives you a little bit of a taste of
Wow.
how ethical, focused, and principle based they are compared to some other
Yeah.
platforms. We'll just leave it at that. But that's a little teaser that most people don't know.
That's crazy. Yeah, there has been definitely some controversy regarding a lot of the major platforms. We won't dive too deep into that, but it's awesome to know that LinkedIn is a rock in the foundation of those places and one that's always been business oriented, right? So it begs the question, is LinkedIn the right platform to market your business? I mean, according to LinkedIn, its lead conversion rates are 3 times higher than other major platforms, which is a crazy statistic. So, in today's episode, we're going to explore the benefits and considerations to make when helping you decide if LinkedIn is the right place to market your business. So, I'll lead with this. We're going to get some feedback from you, Gabe, as somebody who's an extremely experienced entrepreneur. Gabe, can you remember what your first either client experience was like on LinkedIn yourself, or can you talk about one of our clients' experiences with LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple actually.
Awesome.
Long ago, far, far away, in a galaxy far, far away, in 2013 and 14, or somewhere around there, I came up with an idea for what, as far as I know, still is the first content subscription business in the world on the internet. And I actually jumped on LinkedIn and started reaching out to people and saying, hey, can you give me feedback on this idea? I messaged 20 or 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, I got 10 clients. There's a very specific strategy I used for that, which works really well. And I also met somebody that became a longtime friend, an investor, and a huge client from my initial message. It was somebody that was involved in the founding of OpenTable years ago. LinkedIn has been a powerhouse for me that has made me couple $1 million in revenue. I was estimating off the top of my head. I know way
Wow.
over 1 million, and so it's been a really powerful platform. And so there's, as we're going to get into today, the right way and an effective way to leverage LinkedIn, and then
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the ways that people try to shortcut relationship building, which doesn't work on any platform. But that was my
Yeah.
experience. I have another client who solely does all their networking and outreach and marketing and prospecting on LinkedIn. They recently just crossed $250,000 in
Wow.
revenue, and it has all come from LinkedIn. So it's an amazing platform when used right. And just like everything else, in business and online, there's people that are teaching it the right way, and there's people that are going to tell you things that I definitely would not do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have some experience with LinkedIn myself as well. As recent as yesterday, I actually was on a call with a prospect yesterday, and we had a fantastic conversation. He was a very well-spoken individual, and he asked to check him out on LinkedIn, and so I absolutely did. We connected on LinkedIn. It's always a great place to build your network. I, as most people know, am the business connection specialist with BME, and so it's literally my job to build connections and relationships with people. And so it's an excellent platform to do that because of how sophisticated it is and how business
Yeah.
oriented it is. It still begs the question that we're going to answer today. LinkedIn, is it right for your business? So there's a couple things we're going to cover here with this one. With over 1 billion members, and actually half of the members are between the ages of 24 or 25 and 34, it might be worth it, especially as people are growing up and evolving as entrepreneurs and business owners. So we're going to explore a couple things. I'm going to shoot a question at you, and then we're going to cover just three things of who can benefit the most from LinkedIn. So I have three examples here that the team have put together that have benefited from three niches and areas where people have benefited from LinkedIn in our experience. But what are some that come to mind for you off the top of your head, Gabe?
Yeah, so one thing to keep in mind is that the team may be able to put this in the show notes later, but we just finished a huge strategic marketing plan for a client, and they are primarily targeting CTOs, CFOs,
Right.
and financial controllers, and a huge majority of C-suite level business owners and corporate prospects or folks that you'd want to connect with and work with are active on LinkedIn on a daily, weekly
Oh,
basis.
yeah.
So it's a big corporate space. It's so when you're going B2B, it's an amazing platform. I also know, like the client I mentioned earlier, she's, B2C in the sense that she's going after and doing individually coaching with executives, but again, that's kind of B2B in some senses. But
Yeah.
what determining if it's right for you is always going to be about how are you going to strategically invest time to build relationships there, because their entire algorithm, platform, principles, and everything is about connecting people that you are actually connected with in real life, and about connecting and having real relationships, which is awesome because it's not, their algorithm is not designed for virality. Their algorithm is not designed for mass reach. It's to help you deepen a core set of relationships. And so if you're connected with even 100 people, a couple hundred people, that's more than enough to make it a really effective platform to market
Yeah.
on. And the organic side of marketing on LinkedIn is always where personally I've had the most success and where our
Yep.
clients have had the most success. The paid advertising end of it, which I don't know if you want to get into that later, Nathan, but there are some opportunities and advantages there, but that needs to be approached differently than other paid channels in my experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is definitely a difference there. It's one of the platforms where organic can be really powerful, and then paid can also have its areas too. There are some that are vice versa as well. We've talked about Facebook in past episodes, and I'm sure we'll talk about other ones in the future, but you actually touched on one of the ones that I was going to mention. So there's three niches that come to mind for us as a business that benefit the most from LinkedIn. Of course, it's not limited to these three, but these are three huge ones where we've seen a lot of success in the industry, and that's B2B businesses, that's one you mentioned, service providers, and then industry experts and thought leaders, which you come into play on that a lot as you're in the later stages of entrepreneurship, which involves, being an expert, being a thought leader, sharing what you have with other business owners. And so when you get to that place, LinkedIn is a fantastic platform to connect with other people that are at a similar stage, right?
Yeah, it's a great place. Like the one client I mentioned does executive coaching for a lot of finance executives and other industries too, but executive coaches can do very well on there. It's definitely good B2B. I've done tons of prospecting and had success there, and clients of ours have as well. So yeah, it's very strong B2B. It's not necessarily the first platform I would choose for B2C. It's not that it can't work, but that's not its most, successful area.
Yeah, for sure. There are other avenues you can take, and that's kind of one of our major topics today is is LinkedIn right for your business? Because it's always good to know where your target audience is, and if they're not on LinkedIn as much, it might not be worthwhile to put all your eggs into LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn can be for everybody. You just have to be creative. And that leads us to our next topic. So, Gabe, our team has put together 8 examples of what types of content work on LinkedIn. So, we have some examples that I'll dive into with you, and you'll give your thoughts on that. But I wanted to see if you could guess a few of them. So, if you would, see if you can come up with some different content ideas that you think would work well on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, I guess first, in content format, I'll start there. Video on LinkedIn has been growing intentionally, and I really like the way they've tested it and rolled it out. So they have their own video feed. So there's opportunity there. It's a little bit newer. Putting up PDFs, essentially slide decks of your content, is a great way to teach and educate people. And then LinkedIn articles and LinkedIn newsletters. I'm not completely answering your question, but are really powerful because LinkedIn articles are so supercharged from a search engine optimization standpoint that when you publish regularly, when you put things up there, you can show up in Google search results faster than almost any other platform today. And so
Interesting.
leveraging articles, obviously posts, but articles are really valuable, as is their newsletter platform right now.
Yeah, yeah, and that touches on a few things that we have, so that's a great answer, especially with not knowing what I have in store for you. So I always love giving you a little surprise. Just so everybody know, Gabe does that to me all the time too. He shoots some surprises at me. It's how we keep each other fresh and engaged. So, but let's dive into some of these examples. So the first one you kind of touched on, industry news, sharing relevant articles, trends, and updates in your industry.
Yep. Yeah, it is really a place to practice and exercise thought leadership. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot, so I want to define that a little bit more.
Yeah,
You're not a thought leader because you can write a long post. You're not a thought leader because you can do better research than other people. You only qualify to be a thought leader, in my experience and opinion, because you've lived it and done it and tried and failed and had it go wrong a lot and had it go right
absolutely.
sometimes, and be able to show up and say, this is the real world advice. This will actually work. This is what I've actually done in personal experience. And real executives, real entrepreneurs and business owners, they can instantly feel and sense if you're being authentic and sharing real world experience versus if you're trying to put something out there just to get engagement. It's an amazing place to teach about what you know inside of an industry, share client successes and wins and examples, teach frameworks that, again, you truly know and actually work.
Absolutely. Being genuine is so important. We've talked about that so many times on the show, and people are so emotionally aware these days. They know when you're not being genuine. So make sure you're being genuine when you're attempting to be a thought leader. So I love that. The next one kind of ties into that too, and that's empathizing with your peers, showing your understanding of the challenges your target audience face, which can help you connect with other people facing the same challenges, right?
Yeah, and what's amazing about how LinkedIn has always been intentional and very principle based in their approach is that you're going to have the best engagement, the best results when you actually intentionally go out. And what you just shared earlier in the episode here, Nathan, was really key, because you had a phone call and the guy said, let's connect on LinkedIn.
Yep.
And now you have an avenue to like and comment on his posts, message him and say, man, I really like that article you shared. Stay engaged and stay connected, because LinkedIn is a true and effective digital networking platform
Yeah.
where you can build those relationships. And so, in order to understand your audience, it's a great place to read what they're posting, message, and just truly invest in the relationship without pitching immediately. People that are pitching, in the DMs and in LinkedIn and cold pitching, I would recommend everybody just block them. If that's the first message you get, they have no idea how to build a
Absolutely.
relationship. It's not going to work. But if you do what you just said, Nathan, of like connect to read their posts, message them genuinely interested in how they're doing, you will learn more about your audience and who you want to connect with and serve with by just showing up and being a good human.
It's a great way to deepen your relationship. You want to start by having a personal human connection. If you're throwing a sales pitch to somebody you've never spoken to before, your failure rate is going to be almost 100%. I have tons
Yeah.
of sales experience at this point, and I have never seen that work, I don't think, one time. It
Yeah.
almost always seems spammy, disingenuous, and like we said earlier, people are just too intelligent for that. So be better. Another one is promoting events, right? So sharing information about events you're involved in or attending, because you can connect with other people who are involved in those sorts of things too.
Yeah. So not only like promoting physical in-person events, it's a great place to share that, but having LinkedIn events where you invite people and then you stream your workshop, your webinar, whatever you're teaching. It's a great way to invite people, because if you start with the foundation of investing in relationships, like just like you said, you connect with this person and you're going to engage with them and talk to them, and you continue to just connect with a handful of people every week that you really take the time to build a relationship with. Then when you hold an event and say, I'm going to do this teaching or share about how this process works or share about how, we can help you solve things inside your business, and you invite your truly engaged connections, they will see that. You'll get them to show up. A portion will show up. They'll be aware of it. And it's the consistency of always showing up and serving and teaching and helping through that
Absolutely.
events, through having an event that will allow you to deepen relationships. It'll also just build brand trust, because it's easy, and I see this with entrepreneurs young in their entrepreneurial path, that if they change focus all the time, then they diminish trust and they damage their personal brand and they damage their company brand. And sometimes they're changing companies or brands or ideas. But when people witness that, they go, oh, that person doesn't know what they're doing. I wouldn't want to buy from them because
Exactly.
their offer changes, what they're focused on changes. If you just keep showing up, keep offering, value and advice, keep teaching, then at the right time, I've had two different clients tell me this in the last 2 months where they had somebody reach out to them and say, hey, I'm ready to work with you. And our clients was like, what? And they're like, yeah, I know that you do this, this, and this, and I'm ready to hire you. They're
They're
took,
so aware of the
yeah.
brand.
And it took for one client, it took 18 months of consistent investment in the relationships on LinkedIn and through his newsletter and everything he did. And he told me, he said, before that happened, I was like, I don't know. I don't believe Gabe. I don't know if this is going to work. But he's like, I'm just going to stick with it because he claims it'll work. And he's
Yep.
like, now I have this huge opportunity and this huge contract just because I followed through and I was persistent. And same thing with the other client. They kept showing up. They kept posting. And it was funny because I got an email from them one day and said, I can't believe this person just reached out and said, I'm ready to buy from you. And they signed up on the first call.
Crazy.
And then 2 days later, our same client emailed and say, it happened again. She's like, this consistency stuff works. I was like, yeah, it always works. And so, yeah, it's a great place to hold your events, to, educate, to serve. And if you stick with it long enough, you will beat all your competitors. It's the simplest competitive strategy. Just outlast, outpersist, everybody around you, and you will reap the benefits at the right time.
Yeah, and Gabe, you're one of the most tenacious people I know. You try and try, fail and succeed, and that is the journey of an entrepreneur, right? So it's just such an excellent way to go about that process, and keeping up with it, you will reap the benefits. Being process driven and staying consistent is so important in business these days. So I think that's an excellent point. If you take anything away from today's episode, take that for sure. And that leads me to one, we put a lot of focus with the content we create here at BME because we know how important this is. Put faces to your work. Sharing photos and videos of your team and their accomplishments, which is absolutely crucial these days because sharing your wins will create trust between people who don't know much about your brand because you see, oh my gosh, they accomplished this for this client. Or with us, we just helped somebody sign on with an NFL team a couple weeks ago. We share those things to be like, hey, we have exciting things going on and we want to share it with the world. So yeah, put faces to the work, right?
Yeah, none of us are going to notice or be attracted to the perfect old style, perfect professional headshot stuff.
Yeah.
There's a place for that still, but that's not the main style of content that should go out there. None of us are looking for perfection. We're looking to work with people that we go, oh, they're like me. They have some imperfections, or they're human, or they have a real team. They have, here's what we're doing in our, manufacturing part of the business, or here's what it looks like in our office, or here's a project we finished, or here's some of the people on the team. When you share that, again, it continues to fill out that holistic view of who you are and who your company is and the clients you work with. I posted, I think in the last week or so, I get to take a personal trip with a client and spend some vacation time with them.
It looked like so much fun too. Oh my gosh, you guys should check it out.
And just sharing what you really do is so much more attractive than trying to make everything perfect or set this perfect image, because that will drive people away if you're always trying to focus on perfection and showing only the best parts of your business. Owning up to what your failures is always a great idea, because then you actually will build more trust. And also just saying, here's what every day looks like, here's what reality looks like for us.
Absolutely. And it's we talked about, I think a week or two ago, I went to see one of our clients named Michelle. Michelle, I love you so much if you're watching this. But the team was like, Nathan, you better take photos. You better take some photos because we want to post them. We want people to see what you got going on. I was like, all right, you got me. I'll take some photos. And lo and behold, I took some great photos and I had so much fun. Putting faces behind what you do is so important because one of the most important things when building connections in a business is being relatable. That's something Gabe has taught me so much, is the transference of trust is being relatable and human. And so that's so important in what I do in sales and every other aspect of business. So I think that's a lovely, lovely point there. We're going to combine two here because they kind of tie in together, and that's sharing educational content and sharing your stats and data. So offering up valuable tips and insights related to your industry, but also backing up your claims with relevant statistics and data. Gabe is a very logical thinker. He is really good with spreadsheets, and he has always been kind of a tech nerd, from what I understand. So he always, as a team, we're very open with the data that we share with each other and the statistics. And so other people relate to that too, right?
Yeah, and yeah, if you're teaching like this is the best way to do this to solve a leadership problem or a technology problem or marketing or whatever service you're providing or whatever product you're providing, you can teach and explain how it works, and then tying in the real world results of for example, I'll hint about what I think we're going to talk about later. We do deep market research so that we can get faster, more effective business results for our clients. So we talk about market research, we share videos around that, we do all that. But then if we just start there, it's like, okay, cool, great theory. But if we stop there, then that's only half the equation. We
Yep.
share that, but we also talk about, and here's the numbers that happened. Here's the results our client got. And so that really fills in the full picture so that what you're sharing isn't just theory, but it's your audience can go, oh, that actually practically works.
Yeah.
Because I keep hearing, over the weeks and months that we follow this process or we deliver this product or we do this thing, and here's the outcomes. Here's the outcomes. Because in business, we have to be able to take ideas, raw materials, human resources, everything we have, and we have to create and produce a better result. And if we can't show the outcome and the result, then it's all theory, right?
Yeah, and the transference of theory to real work is so important, right? Because people won't just trust the theory, right? They have to see evidence. A lot of the people that I talk to during my calling want to see proof of what we do. That's why we
Yeah.
have a super extensive wins page that you guys can check out where we have testimonials from our clients. We also have written wins and case studies as well because we have so many things we love to share with people. So that's super important. The last couple here, and then we'll move on to our next section, is expressing your opinions and then offering valuable resources. So you can offer your unique perspective on industry topics, and people will relate to that because everybody's got their opinions, right? And then also to tie into that, you can also recommend helpful articles or tools and resources for your audience that tie into your industry because that way people can see what you're researching, find objective facts, and then base their own opinions off of those things. And that way you can connect with people based on their opinions as well.
Yeah, so the more that you lean into your craft and practice your skill and really continue just to focus on excellence and mastery in the services, the products, the things you provide, you're going to find that there's ways that you do it that's a little bit different than everybody else. And that's a great place to truly, with authenticity, maybe be a little bit more polarizing and then share resources and support and examples around that. So I'll share an example from how we operate. The vast majority of quote unquote marketing firms, because I do not agree with how it's done in most of the industry, will say, oh yeah, we've worked with a bunch of roofing companies, or we've done great in, the med spa space, or we're great at, getting leads for coaches or whatever it is. And so they feel like they're the expert. And so they sell a package and say, so this worked for one client, of course it's going to work for you.
Yes, oh my God.
And it's
Dude.
really foolish. And like I will stand on that truth all day long because
Yeah.
that the miss rate or the success rate of just giving, let's say, 10 coaches all the same package and strategy and everything, you're only going to be successful maybe 30 to 50% of the time if you're really lucky. Because the challenge is, I don't care if you only work with executive coaches, we'll say as an example, they are all individuals, they have a unique business, and they serve a unique crowd of people that are attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I share our process and approach, I will clearly call out like cookie cutter packages, just selling the same thing to everybody, or if you've been sold a package that didn't work, the reason why it didn't work is because you didn't start with actually doing deep market research and surveying your existing and past clients and understanding the true nuance of why they chose you over the tens of thousands or millions
Yep.
of executive coaches. And so when we talk about that stuff, then we share like our 5 gear marketing process videos, or we give a guide and we talk about our 5 gear marketing book. We give resources to explain this is why it's different and here's the examples. And then that helps people understand why you're different and why they can trust you because here's my opinion, here's what it looks like, here's the resource, and then just like we talked about earlier, here's the stats to back it up of why it actually works. So that's the key when you're putting an opinion out there or you're teaching something, talk about the things that are different about your business and what you do in a unique way. Because if you're not doing anything unique, then that's a great time to go back and look at your actual business operation processes and your principles. Because if you're just doing what everybody else in your industry does, it's going to be so hard to be successful in the long run.
Yeah, because you have to stand out, right? You can't just fall into line and expect somebody to find your business more appealing than somebody else's, right? That's why when I talk to prospects, what you said is so important. Cookie cutter solutions, literally throw them in the trash right now, please, for the love of God. Because we've worked with so many businesses that share a niche, right? We've worked with coaches, health space, product-based business. But let me tell you something. Every single marketing strategy we created for every single business that even shares a niche with another is different. Your target audience is different. What makes you a business is different. There are so many things that are different that wouldn't translate with the cookie cutter solution. Now, that's not to say we aren't process driven. We have processes that work across the space for every business, but they're not tied to niche specific cookie cutter campaigns. Yep. Everything needs to be unique, and that's what separates us from a lot of other marketing agencies. And I've spoken to a ton of them. So if you guys ever need help with that sort of thing, and you want to explore the potential of LinkedIn with your business, give us a call. We'd be happy to check it out for you, dive deep into if it's a great platform for you. You can check us out at businessmarketingengine.com. For our YouTube listeners, it'll be linked in the comments below. But for the last couple sections of the podcast today, we're going to talk about some interesting statistics as it comes to LinkedIn. So I'll shoot a couple of these your way, and I'll just get some brief thoughts on you as we wrap up today. So this one I found really interesting. 89% of B2B marketers use LinkedIn for lead generation. And 62% of those people say it actually produces leads for them effectively, and so this makes it a great platform for lead generation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one side of it that I think is the most productive, the most important place to start, and then there's an evolution from it. And the most productive place to start is, just like we said, truly take time to identify people on the platform that are in your market, that you can relate to, that you would enjoy hanging out with, connect with them, build a relationship, engage in their content, do things that will help attract them to you, and then start a conversation and play the long game. Don't expect they're going to sign up with you the same day or within a week or 2 weeks. Like, play the long game with them and really build a network of people that you engage with, you connect with, and you serve well. And then once you do that and you really know who you're serving, then running branding campaigns, doing some paid traffic, and ultimately you can scale up and really get great results from paid advertising on LinkedIn. But I always encourage people, learn the platform first, build relationships, figure out who you're serving.
Put your reps in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's so important. One thing I wanted to touch on that's really important to me, guys, don't expect to sell somebody on the first conversation. Unless they have a super need and they're super aware of your brand already, it's very unlikely. Focus on building the relationship. Learn. Be inquisitive. You can use LinkedIn for these things. Shoot some messages back and forth. The more you learn and the more human you seem and the better your connection is, the more likely they are to trust you. And sales at its core, as Gabe has taught me, is the transference of trust. And that is so important. We'll probably have a whole episode on that in the future, guys. Yeah. But I think that's great. There's a couple other short little statistics I just wanted to mention. We don't have to talk about them too deep. I just think they're super interesting. There are more than 199 million members in the U.S. alone, out of the over billion LinkedIn members. So that's a pretty substantial margin, but it also shows you how many people are in LinkedIn in other countries and things like that. It just shows you the true scope of that platform. And then also, ads on LinkedIn do really well from what we've seen. It typically garners a 33% increase in purchase intent for brands. So some people may not know that, but ads can perform really well when you get to that point. Of course, we encourage you to put your reps in and do your organic reach, but if you are looking at advertising, which we can help with, we've advertised a ton on LinkedIn, it can absolutely work. And then we will wrap up today. I cannot wrap up an episode without talking about a win. I can't do it. It won't happen. So this week, we have a client called Amazing Botanicals, and we generated extremely high-quality leads for their new wellness campaign within 2 days of launching their campaign. Now, to clarify, we play the long game as well. Marketing is always a time-tested process. However, things like that can happen when you have such a strong and powerful lead magnet. It is amazing what a powerful lead magnet can do, and it can turn leads in 2 days, Gabe. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and the foundation, like we talked about, is if you do your market research and you really understand who you're serving. We did that with Amazing Botanicals we surveyed their customer list. We did a really deep demographic, psychographic survey. We looked at all those results. We analyzed it. We added to that research. And so when we build our ads and our targeting, and when we launch the campaign, it's so much easier to win when you do the groundwork. And we spent a few
Yeah.
months to do the groundwork, to be clear.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when we launch, yeah, they're getting consistent leads every day. They're growing their email list. They're bringing new prospects to their platform, and they're able to generate sales from that. And it all starts with using a strong process that allows us to really customize and find your exact right audience for your business.
Exactly. What a great episode today, guys. LinkedIn is such a good platform, and it can really, really help boost sales in your business if you do it the right way. So I encourage you, for our YouTube listeners, comment your experience with LinkedIn. Tell us a story of how you connected with a major client or made a friend even on LinkedIn. We would love to hear your stories. And if you need any help with LinkedIn, we have tons of industry experts with LinkedIn. Check us out at businessmarketingengine.com, and we look forward to everybody tuning in for next week's episode.
See everybody then.
See you guys.